Can we start? Can we start? Can we start now? I can't hear you.
Yes, so I can listen to you now. I think it was the issue with my headphone. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Also.
so let's begin.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about yourself.
Um, so I'm Samiksha Dwivedi. I was born in Rewa, Madhya Pradesh, and I've done my early schooling in Indore, Madhya Pradesh. Post that, I did BTech in Computer Science from SRM University in Chennai, Kattan. Post that, I was placed in Verizon Data Services in Hyderabad, and I left that after 2 years to pursue MBA in IIT Kanpur with specialization in finance and economics. And post that, I started my journey of civil services to join the governance field, and alongside, I'm also employed as probationary officer in Canara Bank, and I also like to write, reflect. I like to do reflective diary writing in my free time, and watch movies, documentaries, and read books related to finance and economics.
Okay, so can you explain to me your journey? How did you go from computer science engineering to MBA in finance and economics?
So when I finished my 12th, at that time, the technology and particularly IT was in lot of demand, and that's why I decided to pursue my engineering computer science. And I have also worked in corporate for 2 years, but I realized that I want to be more in the front end of my profession. So I decided to go for management, and finance and economics interested me because I used to read books related to it. So that's why I chose it as my specialization. However, during my MBA, my aspirations grew more. I realized that I can use my skills and knowledge, particularly my understanding in academics, in governance also. So that's why then I shifted to uh, civil services.
Okay, so you told me that you're now working as a probationary officer in Canara Bank.
Yes, sir.
Was this through your MBA placement or was that a separate exam?
So I have cleared IBPS PO to get this employment in 2024.
Okay, but you have also worked in Bank of India
Yes, sir.
as a general banking officer. How did you get that job? That was
S-
also an exam?
Yes, sir. I gave IBPS PO twice, and I cleared it in 2022 also, and this year also I cleared. But last time I left it because I wanted to focus more on UPSC preparation. That was my ultimate goal. And I was still in the early phases of my preparation at that time, so I decided to focus 100% at that time on UPSC civil services.
What motivated you to go for civil services? I see that you have also given the forest service exam.
So when I started my journey for civil services, my goal was to get into administration. However, since I have a long history with UPSC, which started in 2021, and last year in 2023, UPSC, and 2024, I was not able to clear it. Uh, in 2023, post interview, and in 2024, I was not able to clear mains. So I was out of job. So at that time, I was looking for alternate options also as backup. So that's why I registered for forest services also. However, in course of this year, I got a job also, and then I was supposed to get married. I got married last week. So I wanted
Okay.
to prioritize my time for civil services, especially after I got the result of the mains this year. So that's why I decided to skip the forest services.
So are you continuing in your job or have you taken some sort of leave?
So presently I'm in leave. I have declared that I'm giving interview for the UPSC Civil Services. So I've taken leave on loss of pay presently.
Okay. So let's say you are not able to get through this time. Would you give another attempt?
Yes, so I'm left with one more attempt. I will give it with same dedication I've given in the past.
Okay. So you are originally from Indore. You're currently also living in Indore?
Yes, sir.
I think Indore has always ranked among the top cities in the Swachhta Sarvekshan survey. Why is that?
So success of Indore in the cleanliness revolution of Swachhta Sarvekshan has been due to the collective effort of the municipality, its people, and the dedication towards creation of infrastructure. For example, there have been behavioral changes in the citizens of Indore who have themselves undertaken source segregation and regular disposal of waste in the location itself. For example, residential welfare associations take multiple efforts. Municipality has also been very responsible regarding cleanliness. For example, they reply to all the complaints regarding cleanliness in case citizens report uh, undue burning of waste or lack of delay in collection. They have also used included technology. For example, there are GPS tracked vans and proper creation of infrastructure. For example, dedicated facilities have been created. Like Asia's biggest CBG plant is there in Indore for management of organic waste. There is a separate facility for plastic waste where erstwhile informal workers have been employed. Informal waste pickers have been given formal employment and their skills are being used. So it is basically a collaboration among the people and government and the industries.
Okay. Let's say you are posted in which city has is among the bottom five in the Swachhta Sarvekshan survey?
So I will check into it. I'm not sure. Sorry, sir.
Let us assume you are posted in one of those cities. Will you be able to replicate Indore's model there?
Yes, so I believe that we can replicate it by first of all. So should I tell the solution also?
Yes.
So first of all, we need to create public awareness, which was done in Indore. It was the first step to get the support of people, and it can be done by organizing uh, morning walks and surprise inspections in facilities, and creating awareness by holding exhibitions and conferences where the people of the city themselves are invited, and they are provided a platform to provide consultation and discussion with the authorities. Another thing that can be done is replication of the smart technologies, as I gave example of GPS tracked vans or smart bins, which are able to track the threshold of garbage that a particular a dustbin, a community dustbin can hold. So these technologies, when it is included, it provides a complement to the effort of people also. And also we can seek the support of the government, the state and center government, to to install necessary infrastructure for waste management. For example, adequate number of STPs should be there, and also regulation by collaborating with necessary authorities. For example, pollution control board is there, so that the waste is not unduly disposed and cause pollution. So uh, I believe that we can replicate in those model in the dirtiest cities also.
Okay. You were born in Rewa district, right?
Yes, sir.
What is Rewa famous for?
So Riva is famous for white tigers.
So do you think ecotourism should be promoted in Rewa?
Yes, sir. Ecotourism can definitely be promoted, and it is efforts are being undertaken in that regard. For example, there are white tiger safaris in Rewa division near Meher district. So the efforts are being undertaken. However, such initiatives should be balanced with the well-being of the white tigers and the ecosystem also, so it is not polluted by constant human intervention.
How would you achieve such a balance? Tell me two concrete steps.
So, first of all, I will go with regulated tourism. For example, tourism should be limited to buffer areas. It should not, safaris should not enter into core areas where it can affect the well-being of the residents or wildlife residents of that village. And another thing we can do is the threshold on the safaris. For example, it should not cause burden on the ecosystem with excessive tourism. For example, that is being seen in Himalayan states. So particular threshold should be there that for a particular season and particular on that day, only a limited number of tourists should be allowed. and al-
Okay.
and also alongside we can go for proper manpower which who oversee that polluting activities are not being undertaken in that area.
Okay. Uh, you have chosen history as your option.
Yes, sir.
What was your motivation?
So, in my academic journey, I was exposed to both technology and economy, but I was not exposed to any humanitarian based subject. And history was has always interested me. Alongside, I believe that India is a very culturally rich nation, and it is very diverse. And understanding its history will help me in delivering better administration and governance. So that's why I chose it.
Okay. So you have spent some time in the banking sector as well.
Yes, sir.
Tell me, what are the three major challenges faced by India's public sector banking?
So, three major challenges for public sector banks is first of all, I believe it's workforce shortage because public sector banks handle majority of the banking business. But the workforce necessary is there's lots of vacancy, and as a result there are delays and inefficiency, and customer services becomes inadequate because of that. Secondly, I believe the NPA crisis are an issue, even though it has resolved somewhat with continuous intervention and cooperation between RBI and banks, but it is still a risk based on the recent issues with banks for example, AS Bank had uh, an issue. Yes Bank had issue around 2 years ago. So NPAs are an issue, and third is technology infusion and related to that financial inclusion. Because as banking is moving digital, a large number of population is still it still lacks digital literacy. So the last mile reach of banking is an issue, and alongside that there are differences in the software being used by the banks. So a collaboration and a cohesive approach between public sector banks is is a it creates sort of bottleneck in its operation. So these three are the major challenges.
Okay. What is the current level of NPAs in India's banking sector?
So as of now, gross NPAs are less than 3%, around 2.6%. That is the exact figure. And net NPAs are also less than 1%, around zero point 0.6. So it is in good position presently.
Okay. So I'm going through your service preferences. You have not opted for IPS, and why have you decided against IPS?
So, based on my academics, I have more exposure to finance and economics, and it was a subject, accounting was also a subject. So, based on that, I have opted for revenue services because that services they interest me more than IPS. IPS is a good service, but based on my skill set and my interest, I opted for IRS.
Any particular reason for opting indirect taxes over direct taxes?
So, with introduction of GST, I believe that India is undertaking lots of tax reforms, particularly in customs and IT. So I the reforms and the initiatives being undertaken, they interest me, and I believe that it would be my honor to contribute in their implementation and administration. That's why I decided to go for customs and IT.
Okay, so you don't think reforms have been undertaken in direct taxation?
No, sir. Sorry if I gave that impression. It's just that I was more interested in indirect taxes. Obviously, reforms have been undertaken, and it has also improved upon the working of direct taxation with schemes like faceless schemes, 𝐉𝐨𝐢𝐺 𝐉𝐶. Definitely, reforms have been undertaken.
So recently, this Goa nightclub fire has been in news. Let's say you are posted as DM in that Goa district. What would you do to ensure fire safety in these kinds of establishments?
So, in these kinds of situations, my approach would be both short term and long term. In short term, I would want to investigate the immediate reasons as to why it happened. I would coordinate with necessary authorities, my superiors, to find the exact reason. For example, in Goa, in case of Goa nightclub, the major reason was that there was lack of proper implementation of regulations. They did not have proper exit ways, and even the operation of the nightclub, it did not have requisite permissions. So I would first put audit of all such establishments which are operating without necessary regulations and they do not have necessary permissions to operate. I would give them some time limit to align with the regulations because closing mass closure can affect the livelihood and the economy of that particular region. However, if within the necessary timeline, the efforts are not being undertaken, then I would want to, for setting example for these nightclubs, I would close some of them which have been grave violation, and I would ensure that such incident is not repeated, and alignment to rules and regulations is mandatory, and such illegal activities do not continue in the district I'm posted in.
Okay. With this, we come to the end of the interview. Is there anything you would like to ask the interview board?
So I do not have anything in my mind, but if you feel something is pending in my DAF, I will be glad to answer.
No, let's come to the end of the formal interview.
So, thank you, sir.
Some feedback. I think you have been busy for the past few weeks. Congratulations on your wedding.
Thank you, sir.
So you need to brush up a little on your DAF, prepare the answers,
Yes, sir.
and think a little bit about why you have made certain choices which are reflected in your DAF.
Yes, sir.
Try to be as honest as possible. And when is your interview?
So it is not scheduled yet.
Okay. Keep reading current affairs. You have given an interview before, right?
Yes, sir.
What was your score in that interview?
So 168.
Okay. Uh, just give this some time. Anticipate the questions which can be asked from your DAF. N number of questions can be asked. There are a lot of things. Some things I have not touched, like CFA and your public relations, non-fiction books, documentaries. Some interview member who has interest in any of these things can go into any sort of detail. So be prepared with that. And which newspaper do you read?
So I follow Hindu, Business Line, Mint, and some Indian Express Explained.
Okay. No, that's fine if you're doing all that. Just keep doing this till your interview date. Anything else you would like to ask?
So based on my marks from last time, did I improve or I'm still at that level?
Last time meaning?
So I got 168. So
No, look, I don't know what was your performance during that interview.
uh,
That is difficult for me to say, but I think you have scope for improvement.
yes, sir. Actually, some questions which were I'm still in the process. For example, for IRS, I have an understanding of what I want to say, but I have not been asked yet. So That's why I was not able to articulate it in a better manner.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. For obvious reasons, you must have been busy.
Yes, sir.
Prepare your DAF, and then when you're fully prepared, you can schedule one more interview and give a mock at an institute.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And that's it from my side.
Okay, sir. Thank
And
you.
best of luck.
Thank you, sir.